His time has expired. I call Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is enlightening. We've seen Mr. Norman make a great effort to appear more reasonable and focused on the economy, and he has been sensitive to the charge that the Greens are merely watermelons, green on the outside and red in the middle. He's focused on the economy and all of his questions. He looks serious, and he envisages great concern about the economy, and that's very good, and I applaud it in many ways. But this bill, Mr. Speaker, shows us the Greens' true colours. It's raging, unreconstructed, closed economy piece of policy. It's anti-growth. It's based on fear, like most of what the Green Party is doing, based on fear, feeding on fear that the world is about to implode and that all sorts of foreigners are going to come in and take our land. It's based on fear, and it's about wrapping New Zealand up in a cocoon of protection and regulation, and I'm against it. The basic effect of this bill would be to stop virtually all foreign investment in land. Anything could be described as sensitive. And this is a party that stood under the campaign slogan in 2011 that it was for a richer New Zealand. Well, what a joke. You actually have to earn a living in this world, and by closing your borders and sealing the borders as this bill would do, we're not going to get very far. It's a good job that Mr. Norman and the Greens weren't around in the 19th century, because nobody would have come to this country. The country wouldn't have developed. It wouldn't have happened if you didn't have the ability for people to come from overseas and buy property and invest in it. Now, this country, this economy has been built on men and women from distant lands coming and investing their money in businesses and in land in this country. Some remained overseas, and their capital built enterprises and developed the land, providing jobs for locals and improving the productivity of this country. That's how we grew as a country. More often than not, once they'd made that investment, they decided eventually with their families to settle here, and that is how New Zealand made its progress. So I'm not surprised that the Greens have come up with a bill like this, but I am shocked, however, to see that the once proud Labour Party is supporting this bill as well. Mike Moore would be turning in, well, not his grave, he hasn't got there yet, but turning in his bed in Washington, D.C. right at the moment at the thought that his party, the Labour Party, that stood for free markets once and stood for being open and for free trade, that party now has given in to pusillanimous Me Tooism, following the Greens in this to the bottom. Mr. Speaker, just let's run through some of the arguments of why foreign investment is good for the economy. Small, high productivity economies rely on international connections of people, of capital, of trade and ideas, and all those things are linked. With the money comes the people, the ideas and the opportunity for trade. That's what foreign investment is all about. We don't have to be terrified of foreigners. Look at the wonderful things that people like Julian Robinson have done for New Zealanders. They've come in, they've bought farms, they've invested in vineyards, golf courses, fallen in love with the country and started donating great paintings to the art gallery, and there are many such stories. These are not people to be afraid of. Foreign investment greatly helps to add to the overall dynamism and diversity in a society, and it is not something that we need to be afraid of. Of course, the system proposed by this bill would lead where it's talking about vaguely about sensitive land would be so capricious and so hazardous that no one in their right mind would consider coming to New Zealand and investing in this land in that environment. A second area, of course, is that a growing economy needs investment, and New Zealand has always needed capital since the start of European settlement. We have an imported capital. We are a young, growing economy still. That's nothing to be scared of, and what we see here is a bill from a party that doesn't want growth, is anti-growth, and there's nothing to be commended in that. It's worth remembering too... It's worth remembering too, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, I was getting carried away there. I apologise. It's worth remembering too that foreign direct investment tends to lead to higher wages. Let me explain. No. I'd just like to say that this bill has all the intellectual coherence of the speech that we heard from the leader of the Labour Party yesterday. I just want to quote the leader.
Sorry to interrupt the honourable member. His time has expired.
That's very disappointing.
Shouldn't have fallen off the perch. Call Raymond Ho.